Welcome back, Source Nation. You're listening live to Love Zone Mondays with hosts Kathy B. and Dr. D. Ivani Young.
Welcome back, Source Nation. You're listening live right here on Love Zone Mondays. I'm your host, Kathy B., and of course, I have my dynamic co-host, Dr. D. Ivani Young, here in the studio with me, and tonight's topic is an amazing one. We're going to be speaking about, are you groundhogging dating? That's right. Are you groundhog dating? Now, let me just tell you guys a little bit about that, and then we'll have Dr. Young come in and share his views on this great subject. Now, what is this, you may ask? Groundhog dating is when you continue to date the same type of person over and over again. So we're going to talk about that tonight. I know that Dr. Young is going to share his views and give us the information on how we can begin to break this pattern and have longevity and success in our relationships. I do believe that Dr. Young is in the studio with me. Dr. Young, hello, and welcome to Love Zone Mondays. How are you?
Good evening, Kathy. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Well, you heard our topic for tonight, which is groundhog dating. And pretty much, Dr. Young, this is when you continue to date the same type of person over and over again. And it's crazy because you're always asking, why do I wind up with the same people? So,
well, there's
about that, Dr. Young.
Well, one, I hope you and people aren't that shallow, but the truth is this has nothing to do with intellect, and it has much more to do with returning to the familiar. There are times when I'm not going to say we because I ain't that stupid no more, but there are times when some of us get stuck on stupid, and the reason that we do is we simply do not like change. It is easier for someone to return to the familiar rather than embrace that which is not familiar. I'm going to just make one declaration at the beginning of this conversation, and that is, if you keep using the same flame, you will attract the same moth. In other words, if you continue to fish out the same pond using the same tackle in the same spot at the same type of morning in the same area, you can expect only to catch the same fish. If you want to do something different, then there's some things not only about your circumstances that need to change, but moreover, a whole lot needs to change concerning your thought process and your level of expectation. If you don't see yourself doing better, you won't do any better.
That's right. I believe in that. Okay, so with that being said, Dr. Young, what is it that we need to do? Because I had the opportunity once this particular question was sent to us and they wanted you to talk about it. I started looking at some different articles, and one article that I came across, which was great, and of course, Source Nation, if I source anything, we'll make sure to put it back out so you all can follow along with us or read it at your leisure, and it will definitely be over at the book club as well. And this particular article comes from Paul C. Brunson, and he was talking about the same exact thing, dating the same type of person. What does this actually say about you? And one of the things that he mentioned in here, Dr. Young, he talked about narcissism and the fact that if you are a narcissist, typically you will probably end up dating someone of the same type of character, meaning that if you're a narcissist, the common misconception is that you love you and some of you, and you love the person that is exactly like you, meaning you attract the same thing. You think of the same type of way of dangerous dating. You're loathing, and you only want to admit the good in you, and then you want to talk bad about the other person. So what are your thoughts about that, Dr. Young? Is that actually true?
Well, the first thing I want to say is I know Paul Carrick Brunson. He's a very dear friend of mine. Paul was the moderator for the Great Love Debate, and I was one of the featured celebrity guests on many of the cities that Paul did moderation for, including Atlanta, New York, and Washington, D.C. One of the things that I first want to say is that I don't disagree with what Paul is saying, but I think there's a lot that can be added, and I think he would definitely support what I'm about to say. Narcissism paints with a very broad stroke in terms of a description of people who are, I don't want to just say self-centered, but sometimes even just selfish. And what I mean by that is this. Often you find that people like to control their circumstances rather than evolve in them. And I really believe, and maybe I'm right or wrong, I haven't read that article, but one of the things that I would dare to suggest is that control freaks don't like variance. They prefer predictability. They don't want someone to challenge what they believe or what they say, or even to force them to be in conflict with how they may feel. I can tell you this. If you keep getting people in your life that don't challenge you, that don't necessitate growth, that don't require you to be more than you are, you're headed for trouble. I see this often with women that are overweight. And I'm not just trying to pick on women, some men too. So if y'all write me, write Kathy, because I'll tell you something funny if you write me. But the truth is, here's the first statement. You know, if you can't take me the way that I am, well, the hell with you. I'm going to say, well, I told this young lady the other morning in the gym, I said, child, let me tell you something. Don't you deserve better? I said, right now, if you died, is this the example you wanted your children to have, where you fall in love with work? You do very good on your job, very consistent. You don't miss a beat. But look at how you look. And look at the fact that, yeah, you come to the gym every 4 or 5 days, once every 4 or 5 days. Then you don't even work up a sweat. So you might as well have stayed home and stayed in the bed and got to make you some Aunt Jemima pancakes or something, because what you're doing is not going to have any positive effect. And I said, now, if you don't want your children to accept mediocrity as a standard, maybe you should stop practicing it. And I'm saying that to people that get really comfortable with folks that don't require more of them than what's at the surface. More than likely, those people are just using you. You get an approval code, so you probably picked them up. You probably paid for dinner. You probably even put a little change in their pocket. No wonder you keep getting the same thing, because when someone don't want to play that game, when someone says, well, I got an idea, why don't we go walking? Well, it's too hot. Well, why don't we get up and meet at the gym in the morning? Well, it's too early. Well, why don't you improve your condition and get that next level certification? Why don't you get that next level license? Why don't you go back to school and do more so that you can stop complaining about you don't make enough? Mm-hmm. When people challenge folk like that, they get pushback. They get resistance. I'm going to just propose this. How can you, especially when you know better, not do better? And how can you sentence yourself to mediocrity? And again, what is mediocrity? The worst of the best and the best of the worst. How in the hell is that good?
Mm-hmm. Well, something to ponder on like that. I love that. Now, he stated also in the article, the emotionally unavailable, and his description, which was a very good description, he stated, he or she doesn't easily show up for you. They are full of excuses and indecisive. He or she talks about the past a lot. They're quick to claim they like you, but he or she's not looking for a committed relationship for whatever reason. Now, this right here is something that I have definitely experienced with a very close friend of mine, and she and I have often talked about this is the place where she always falls within a relationship, is the fact that she concentrates so much on doing a lot for the other person, being there for the other person, but that person is not there for her, and she gives excuses for them. What are your thoughts about that, Dr. Young? I think that is all too important about dating the same type of person that you are, because you are an acceptance of that.
There are a couple of things that I want to say about that. Again, that's a broad stroke. My greater concern would be someone that is going to do something just to conform to the desires of another person. I think it's very healthy when people know they're not ready for a relationship. I think it's very healthy for people not to commit to something that they haven't matured or even made, decided to make that a priority for this season in life. Relationships require a commitment and they require sacrifice. There's no way that you can have a good relationship without both of those things being key constituents, especially if you want that to grow. So I'm going to go back again and reiterate that not everybody's ready to be in a doggone relationship, and I think it's very sad that so many people are looking for an external solution to an internal problem, meaning they have this feeling that, well, if I just have somebody to validate me, I'll be okay. Even when I talked to this person that I was talking to at the gym, one of the first things she said, well, do you have somebody for me to meet? I say, for what? I say, you haven't even met you yet. You don't even like you. How in the hell are you going to get with someone else and expect to be better when you're not better from the inside out? For you to have evolution, for you to have growth, it starts with you being first self-actualized, second, being willing to correct all of the dysfunctional areas of your life, be it your credit, your mindset, having realistic expectations of other people. There are a lot of little areas that we need to work on before we introduce someone else into this mess that we're calling a life. Now, the flip side of that is, let's say that you have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, that you think, okay, maybe I am ready, but I'm not sure. Tell people right up front, I want to date. I want to have fun. I want to get to know you. I may even date other people, but for the person that's going to make that decision, try to keep your drawers up, and if you are going to take them off, pick the person that you're going to share intimacy with. Pick the reason and make sure that even if you don't want a commitment, that you have locked and loaded on, okay, this is why I'm with you. I'm just a freak. I like, I am a hedonist. I like having fun. I'm highly sexual. I want you to know when you and I do what we do, don't you interpret this to be a relationship, and don't you interpret this to mean that I have feelings for you. I'm just getting off because, hell, I like the way it feels. Well, here's the reality. Reality is you could tell somebody all that, and they ain't hearing it. And a lot of people, when you say something to them, in the back of their head, they're thinking, yeah, okay, that may be what you say now, but you're going to change. I urge people to adopt this as a modus operandi, and that's to really accept and believe that people say what they mean and mean what they say. Don't dare be the person that's stupid enough to think that when a man told you, I'm not looking for nothing serious right now, he meant that. Now, he may get in the bed with you and on a 1 to 10 hit a 8 or an 11 even. That does not mean he has feelings for you. That does not mean that this is a relationship. That means y'all just had some good sex and he's a freak and you are too.
Right.
The flip side of that is stop looking for other people to complete you. Relationships complement your life. They do not complete your life. When you look for something other than a relationship with your purpose to be the source of your validation, you're headed down the wrong street.
Wow. That right there is powerful. Now, I want to go back and say something, just based off of what you said. I really like that. And the reason why, it causes folks to be, one, authentic in what they're designed to have, and it causes them to have conversations that they may not otherwise have. Meaning, if you're not ready for a commitment, then by doggone it, you need to say that you're not ready for a commitment. If you are just looking to sleep with someone, then you need to say, I'm just looking to sleep with someone. I'm just trying to get my rocks off. Simple as that. People can't have those types of conversations, Dr. Young. And I think that, and again, so this is my opinion, I think when people put themselves in a position and they begin to question, just as I said in the very beginning when we opened up the show, why am I meeting all these people, is because that's where your mindset is. You're adapted to the norm. That's the norm for you. And when you set out, that is familiarity, as you said, and it's comfort. So anything outside of that, it begins to shake the boat. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts on that are, they line up with yours with something that I want to emphasize that you're saying.
Okay.
Don't avoid hard conversations. Don't avoid being true to who you are. You know, I heard a Baptist preacher say, well, I remember in the Bible it said to thine own self be true. Well, no. And I know some idiot just agreed with that. That's not in the damn Bible. Shakespeare said that, you know. But the truth is, you do need to be true to yourself. You need to own your space and be what and who you are not, much more than who you are. If you know for a fact this is your time to take some time out. You know, some of you folk, you've been married for 10 or 15 years to Adolf Hitler. Some of you have been in dysfunctional relationships where if somebody ain't hitting on you or cussing you out, you don't think they like you or love you. Some of you, when the minute you date somebody, after about 2 weeks, you telling everybody that's your boo and you in love. You need to sit your crazy behind down and spend some time dating and by yourself, because the purpose of dating people to begin with is for you to look at yourself through other people. It's for you to determine your must-haves and can't-stands. It's for you to determine who you are and who you aren't, and what it is you need and what it is you want, and to separate those two things. I know, just using myself as an example, when I was at a different season in my life, and I'm not going to say younger, because back then I was probably more mature in some ways than I am now, probably less mature now than I was then in some ways, but I'm also a hell of a lot wiser than I was then. But the thing that what I had on my checklist for women was, you needed to have a little waist, you needed to have a big butt. I'm not a big boob guy, but certain things that are parts of boobs I really like, and you needed to have a graduate degree in your own money. That was like my template for a woman. Well, as I matured, I met a whole bunch of women that looked exactly like what I just described. Just so fine, they walk in the room, the lights will go on and off. But see, there was a couple of things missing, like character, like integrity. Could I count on you? You know, and this is what really gets crazy. Some of these women loved me when the chips were down. Now, when the chips were down, they were just, they had my back. But the minute I started doing a little bit better, all of a sudden, that same chick would disappear or try to sabotage my success because she figured, well, okay, this dude don't need me no more. And then I had the exact opposite. Women that I met that loved me long as I had it going on. The minute my money was funny, I couldn't hear from them and they wouldn't call me. And then I met people that were just like me. They were just like, you know what? I'm a freak, you a freak, let's get together. What you doing later? Because I like what you do, and then I like what they do. And then I had the nerve to get, sometimes, and I'm just going to be honest here because some of y'all are victims of this, sometimes somebody can look like what you like and do what you like done and enjoy what you like doing. Next thing you know, you calling that something, calling it a relationship, or you think you have more than you have. And when you wake up and realize, hey, this person was just there for the moment. They weren't there for anything other than that moment. So those are three different situations I just described that really can set you up for failure. With that stated as a premise, you need to take a good look at yourself and say, you know what? What season of life am I truly in? And stop lying to yourself. Some of y'all so good at lying to yourself, you actually bleed that crap. I mean, I call it Trumpitis. It's a whole lot of you out there that really believe you are sane and you crazy as hell. But the truth be told, look at your life and look at the season that you're in. It's kind of like seeing, and all of y'all have seen it, you got that auntie that wears some stuff, got her stomach out, and she look like she's pregnant, ain't a bit more pregnant. Got a tattoo in the back of her leg back of her back that used to be a butterfly. Now it looks like a bat, and she's running around with everything hanging out. And you like, Auntie, please, baby, put on something else. Or some of you right now are looking at your life. You're trying to find a father for your kids. You're trying to find a mother for your daughter, when in fact you need to become a better mother or a better father. When in fact you need to realize what season of life you're in and accept where you are or where you're not, and now start having the conversation about, okay, if I'm going to date a man, I need somebody that's either willing to make sure that I study or study with me. If I date this woman right now, I need to make sure she's taking care of her own kids while she's trying to help me with mine. I need to make sure that if I'm stopping drinking, I'm stopping doing drugs, that I deal with someone that doesn't do any drinking or any drugs. In other words, position yourself with people that are deeply rooted in where you're headed, not where you are, where you've been. And if you do that, the chances are you may be able to actually find somebody that's good for you. Now, one little point before you go out there with your Happy Meal and looking for your new toy, here's the truth. When that person corrects you and says to you, well, come on, you going to work out? Come on now, come on, why are you ordering that drink? Okay, well, I thought you said you were trying to stop smoking. Why did you just buy a pack of cigarettes? And they get on your damn nerves. That's the challenge, and I think this is where Paul's article kicks in about narcissism and what have you. That's the challenge for you, to where do you really want change in your life enough that when you partner with or meet somebody new and they call you out on the area that you're working on, are you going to thank them, or are you going to get pissed and run them off and then be right back where you started again?
Wow. Amazing. I love that. I love that. Now, I want to, because you mentioned some things that were great, Dr. Young, just within this conversation. And I came across another part of Paul's article when he talked about the commitment phase, understanding how to commit and what to look for. And he stated here, he said he or she has a history of short relationships and may never been married. He has several excuses why he hasn't met the right woman. He or she has justified the history by saying he has plenty of time to settle down. And one of their favorite lines is someday. So let's talk about the commitment based off of what you just stated. And this is the way that I view commitment, and what you stated too, Dr. Young, is the fact that and I use myself as an example, being that I'm single and I have been divorced for several years, I would like to have someone that's coming into my life that has the same mindset of setting goals and having aspirations and joining them together so we can be successful as a couple. Just as you stated before, don't mind someone saying, well, Kathy, I thought you said that you were on this holistic journey and you go to the gym 5 days a week, but you haven't even gone to the gym this week at all. Why? So things like that I find to be very important. So within the commitment itself, what are your thoughts? Your commitment should be just to that, someone who's working with you, someone who's challenging you, and someone who can see the success and growth in the relationship. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that commitment starts from the inside out. It is not someone else's responsibility to make sure that you're on your own task. That's an individual thing. I believe that there's a lot of juvenile and immature thinking in that area for the average person, because they have this thing of, I'm going to meet this person and we're going to accomplish all this together. Well, first, before you can accomplish anything as a unit or collectively, you need to be accomplishing things individually. I don't believe in looking at what someone says. Actions speak a hell of a lot louder than words ever will.
Right.
When I'm talking to anybody, especially someone that's one of my clients, I mean, I have a very healthy practice as a coach and as a speaker. Anybody that knows me, any one of my clients that knows me, one of the first things that any of them would tell you is, you know what, this dude, he ain't talking it. Everything he says you ought to do, he's living it. I'm very proud to say I had a guy he's been through 2 levels of development with me, and I was telling him, I said, well, now that I wish I could say his name, he just passed a significant certification to elevate himself. And when I met him, that was a conversation. And I said, well, what do you want out of life? And when I said it to him, I said, well, if this is what you want, what does it take to position you to get there? Well, he told me, I said, well, let's set a date. It's been an idea. See, the difference between a goal and an idea is a date. I said, put a date on it and let me see what you're working with. And then you need to sign up with me and go to the second phase of your development training with me. So first of all, the first sign that any woman or man should look for in anybody is do you see this person investing in themselves? Did they go and hire a life coach? Do they attend seminars? Do they attend conferences? And if so, once they attend, what do they do afterwards? Like, do they follow up with the connections they made? Do they follow up with the people that they met? If they have a coach, are they doing what the coach said? So this is first example. When this guy signed up, he invested in himself again. Next example, he just passed this next level certification, which is going to change his income by about 30%. His income is going up 30%, all because he completed this next level and got this next level of credentialing. Now, here's a bigger piece. I was thinking about this guy while I was in the gym on Sunday. On the weekends, I do my body perfecting. Like, I work out 5 days a week. So on the weekends, I go in for vanity workouts. Just, okay, I want this, I want more of this, more of that. And I'm meditating and praying while I'm sitting there about to hit those 500 crunches. And I was thinking about this guy. And I look up, and he is standing right next to me. And he said, Doc, I remember you said that you typically go to the gym to do your perfecting stuff on Sunday. And I just drove, and I'm talking about this guy drove 20 miles from his house to where I work out. And I said, man, ain't that something? And next thing I know, he's standing there next to me. So the next week comes by, he's back again. And I said, why are you doing this? He said, well, Doc, you taught me that my level of commitment to my brand starts with my level of commitment to myself.
That's right.
And he says, I see that you live your brand. You ain't just talking. And after I almost killed him while he tried to keep up with me working out, and I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm just telling it like it is now. This is a brother that's 15 years younger than me. Mm-hmm. And, literally, he could barely keep up with me, which most people probably couldn't. But I'm saying all that to say, I'm not Hercules, I'm committed. And see, the most powerful thing that people have in terms of going to the next level and in terms of being successful in a relationship with someone else is you have to be powerfully committed to yourself. You have to have a passion about achieving your own goals and living your own philosophies, your own theology, your own belief systems to such a degree that when people get around you, it resonates beyond your presence and into the ethers and into the environment where someone can say, you know what, damn, man, that's attractive. And see, ladies, this is especially for you. If you really want to attract a dude, because we have options. Handsome, successful, articulate men have options. And with gay dudes and guys in jail and fat, stupid guys and decent men who are married like Paul Brunson and committed to their wives, guys like me have we have a pick of what we could want. So if we're going to look at any woman, you need to not be talking about it, girlfriend. You need to be about it.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be so passionate about living at the level that you are capable of. And see, some of y'all right now started tripping, pulling out your card. Put that damn credit card up. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your character. I'm talking about your level of commitment to excellence and your level of self-awareness and your level of social and emotional intelligence, your relationship with your Creator, how you love the people around you and how you affect their lives. And see, when you that, sister, you are irresistible. You don't have to be sitting up with that little black Sambo stick on your shoulder, a sandwich sack on your arm, wanting somebody to love you and trying to find somebody to build something with. When you building your own, you'll look up and somebody next to you has built their own. That's your partner right there. But all this make-believe stuff that a lot of people are looking for and searching for, that's just it. It's make-believe. It ain't going to happen. You're going to get played, and you're going to end up with some peanuts in your life, and that's all. You're not going to have a man. You're just going to have some peanuts in your life. And if you don't stop living this lie and living in this make-believe ass fantasy illusion of life and start becoming passionate and focused and committed to what you were created to be and who you were created to be, you will forever be up here looking for love in all the wrong places.
Love it. Love it. So, Station, we are speaking with Dr. D. Yvonne Young tonight. Tonight's conversation is all about, are you groundhog dating? Now, what is that? Groundhog dating is when you're continuing to date the same type of person over and over again. And conversation tonight has been a great one. Now, Dr. Young, I want to transition over to another article that I actually found, and this was on livestream.com, and pretty much they were saying some of the same things that Paul stated in their in the article about dating the same type of person, but their perspective on this is the fact that you're dating the same type of person because this could be for psychological reasons. So I want to talk to you about that. Is that actually true? You're dating the same type of person because it's based upon psychological reasons. Give us your explanation on that.
That's a bunch of BS, just to be honest with you. Psychopathology is the result of previous thoughts. In other words, what you're living right now is nothing but the representation of a bunch of previous thoughts.
Okay.
That's called your truth. If you want to change the things that you look at, you need to change the way you look at things. There is no Zen belief system that you're going to on board that's going to change your life, and here's why. You can believe a whole lot of stuff. Hell, demons believe in Jesus, but they didn't stop them from messing with people. The only thing that changes outcomes is what you know. And belief is what you know to be your truth. In other words, I'll give you an example of this. If I say to you, do you know I can walk across Niagara Falls with a wheelbarrow with 200 pounds in it? People will say, well, yeah, I believe you can do that because they've seen me do it. I say, well, do you believe that I can do that while it's raining? And they see me do it while it's raining, and they say, yeah, we believe it because we've seen you do it while it's raining. I say, well, do you believe I can do it when it's below zero and it's snow and ice out there? Can I still walk across on a tight wire pushing a wheelbarrow with 200 pounds in it? And they say, yeah. Well, see, you can keep doing that all damn day long. You don't know it until you get your butt in the wheelbarrow and let me push you across. Now, when you get in the wheelbarrow and you let me push you across, now you know it. And see, like I said, belief is what you know to be true. you cannot believe anything about anyone else or yourself until you know it to be a constituent of your existence, until you know it to be a reality that you embrace every day, until you know it to be part of not just what you feel and what you think, but it has to be what you do. Actions are worth far more than words. And if you want to look, there's this thing in the Bible where it says, wherever a man puts his treasure, that's where his heart is, right? Another thing says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. Well, see, your mouth can say a lot of stuff, but your heart has a passion about it that has a physical, tangible, tandem connection to what you're talking about. If you say, you know what, I love my child, well, it shows because you gave them your last dime and you put yourself second. If you say, I know that's my friend, well, you know it because when the chips were down, they were down with you.
They were down.
When you that bullet hole in you or that knot upside your head, they risk getting a knot in a bullet hole too to get you to safety. They were there. They took you back and forth to work when you didn't have transportation. They helped fund your education while you had a vision to graduate. They helped pay some of your tuition. And see, as you start looking at people like that, and again, I'm going to caution because some of y'all are a little slow. There are people that will help you long as they can get you to suck on something or bend over, right? So don't let the fact that someone gave you $1 or did you a favor make you think that they had your interest at heart. Because if you had to compromise yourself to get something, that ain't what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when these people put themselves out with the interest, you being the type of person and having the type of, what's the word I want to use? Having the type of sacrifice that they wanted you to win, even if it was at their expense. And they didn't want nothing back from you but to see you win. They didn't want you to sleep with them. They didn't want you to go out of town so you could end up in a hotel room with them that night. And, after they bought you that fifth drink, you figured, okay, why not? These are people that won't even let you have a drink because they want you to be vigilant and sober and take care of your business. These are people that will get on your damn nerves telling you to get out to bed or to get that book out and study because they want to see you make it. When someone has your interest at heart, that's typically when their heart bleeds for you. And see, to have a bleeding heart, it's got to cost you something. But for someone to talk it, pat you on the back, or benefit from you while you compromise yourself, that's not real. So I'm going to say this in closing on all these statements. Fruit speaks a whole lot louder than talk, but in the process of picking your fruit, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove, because everybody that's friendly ain't your friend.
Ooh, I love that. And yes, leaving on that great word, Dr. Young, thank you so much for coming in tonight and giving us some great information in reference to groundhog dating. Of course, we always like to leave either with some encouraging word or maybe some tips and advice that we have not stated in tonight's conversation. If you wish to contribute, I would love for you to do so at this time.
Yeah, if you're dating somebody that look like a groundhog, that might be your first sign. If they look and smell like a groundhog, that might be your first sign to say, you nasty critter-esque little. Okay, I guess I shouldn't say all that. But here's the real. My daddy told me a long time ago, he said, son, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. But there's a caveat to that. When you put in the work, the results aren't too good to be true. They just good. Mm-hmm. You get out of things what you put in things. Start looking at people that you can look at and say, you know what? And I'm not talking about on the surface, because if that's the case, you'll be looking at R. Kelly or somebody. So I'm talking about real people where you can say, you know what, man, I like your work. I respect your game. I respect your grind. The way that you are diligent about your work ethic and your belief systems and your value systems. When you see somebody like that, that's who you partner with. And typically those people are taken. But if you happen to either currently be in the presence of one of them that's not taken, or the other person that's with you, go in and go hard. You will reap what you sow on all levels. So if you sow well, you will reap well, and if you sow poorly, you will reap poorly.
Love that. Thank you. And how can Source Nation and everyone listening tonight continue to support you, Dr. Young, through all of your efforts? Where do we go?
Hell, y'all just send me some money. No, okay, just kidding. It's Dr. D. Yvonne Young. D is in Derek. Yvonne is spelled just like Ivan. Dr. D. Yvonne Young .org. There's no period after the doctor. DrDivanyoung.org. Or it's Dr. D. Yvonne Young on all social media platforms. And the last thing is, if you are really serious about change and having your life be what it was designed for, what God created you to manifest, you can give us a call at 877-508-2025, 877-508-2025. And no, it ain't free. If you can't afford to invest in you or make the sacrifice to invest in you, why in hell should people invest in you or spend their money with you? So when you're ready to become what you were created to be, we're here to give you the tools that you need to start living a profoundly extraordinary life. And Kathy B., I love you madly. Most sincerely, I do. I'll talk to you next week.
Awesome. We love you too, Dr. Young. And again, thank you so much for coming in tonight and giving us some great information. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Well, Source Nation, you heard it right there from Dr. D. Yvonne Young. Tonight's conversation was all about groundhog dating. I mean, are you typically dating the same person over and over again? Great information he was sharing this evening. And I am going to leave with a couple of things that I want you all to really think about when it comes to dating, and if you're questioning if you're dating the same type of person. One of the things that I want to say is go for connection and not just physical attraction. That gets people in trouble all the time. And I will say, back in my younger days, that's what I was most concerned about. You know, he had to be attractive. So if the connection is there and there's some form of chemistry, then, you know, go with that. Don't worry about all the looks and all of that. Looks will fade later on in life. Yes, they will. You can be fine today and look like something tomorrow. But be realistic. Be realistic in what it is that you are desiring to have, and be realistic and true when it comes to communicating and conversations. Also, you know, another thing that I would say is make sure that you are listening to your friends. Now, let me say this. When I say listen to your friends, if your friends are encouraging you to talk to the same people, you need to say to them that you are going to break that cycle. This is not what you're about. You're not wanting to attract those type of people in your life anymore. So when I say listen to your friends, yeah, listen to what they say, but be ready to come back and tell them that that's not what you want either. And don't panic if you feel uncomfortable. If you feel uncomfortable venturing into this new area of life, yes, it's going to be uncomfortable, and yeah, the conversations are going to be uncomfortable, but this is what you have to do. This is what when you speak of the area of growth, something that Dr. Young and I often talk about here on this platform. And then lastly, just as Dr. Young said, in order for us to have the relationships that we desire, for us to have the type of commitment that we want, you got to start with you. The work begins with you. How in the world are you going to expect to have something from someone else when you can't even get that from yourself, and you necessarily cannot even offer it? So start with you. Find the happiness, find the love within yourself, and trust me, the love that you desire to have will be there real soon. So do that. Take the information that Dr. Young left with us tonight, implement that into your life, and good things are surely to come. Dr. Young, again, thank you so much for coming in. All of this information and more can be found on Kathy B, Source Radio Network, as well as our main station page, Source Radio Network. And, of course, any of the articles that we spoke about tonight will definitely be out on Facebook and over in the book club as well. Guys, thank you so much for listening to Love Zone Monday. We'll be back again next week with more great information where we are striving for success and longevity within your relationship. You all be blessed. We'll see you again next week. Good night.
Get at me for beats, yo.